Okay, just call him.
Thanks. Come here. Take the cat with you, please.
Love you.
Love you. Hi everyone, I'm Alice Chloe and this is Alice Chloe Creates. Welcome to my August TBR video. As you can see by this massive stack of books next to me, I'm not sure how long my brain actually thinks August is gonna be, but we'll give it a go. Grab yourself a cuppa, I've got mine, this could be a long one. But so, no particular order, I'm just going with like the books in how I have them stacked up. The first one that I'm going to try and read is going to be The Collectors by David Baldacci. I'm shopping my bookshelves this month because I have far too many books that I haven't read, and I just like to buy books and not read them apparently. Buying books and reading books are two different hobbies, but it's time I actually got through and read some of these books. This one came highly recommended to me from my boyfriend's mum. We have very similar reading tastes. We like mystery thrillers, and this says, Annabelle, a beautiful con artist, is planning the heist of the century. Jonathan de Haven, a shy division head at the Library of Congress, is planning nothing more than a peaceful day amongst his cherished collection, but something fatal is waiting for him in the vaults. I like this. I've been reading a lot of Tess Gerritsen lately on, again, the recommendation of my boyfriend's mum, and I don't know why, but I get real Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code vibes from this one. I know some mystery thriller readers will probably find that offensive, so I'm really sorry, but yeah, I don't know a lot about this book and I kind of don't want to because I enjoy going into a thriller pretty blind, so we'll give this one a go and see how I get on with that. The next book I have is actually the second book in a series, and this one again was recommended to me. But this time it was recommended to me by my dad, and this is Necroscope to Vampiri. I don't know how you pronounce it. Vampiri, by Brian Lumley. And my dad, who is one of the coolest people in the entire world, and he will probably crop up in a lot of my reading videos because he's a huge reader, recommended this to me because when he read it back in the 80s, he said it was the absolute scariest series of books he has ever read. I can't tell you too much about this one because it's the second in a series, so I don't want to give away too much of like spoilers from the first book, but I will read you the description, and it says, things in the ground think in their thoughts they can express only through Harry Keogh, Necroscope. For that's Harry's talent and his burden. He reads the thoughts of the dead in their graves and the thoughts of the undead, except the undead are thinking things that are totally unthinkable. I love this series. It's quite hard to get hold of. This is why my copy is so beat up, because I bought the first book in my local Waterstones, but it's actually out of print now. They don't carry copies in store. I went in and they ordered a copy in for me, but I found this one on Amazon secondhand, and I love a secondhand book anyway, but there are like 20 odd books in this series, so I would definitely recommend getting them secondhand if you can. If you like supernatural, I wouldn't say, it kind of has elements of fantasy, like it has elements of kind of like, if you've read any of the Rivers of London series, it's very similar in that there's kind of a bit of magical realism, there's supernatural, there's vampires, there's ESPN, there's mystery, there's detectives. It is just incredible. I found parts of the first book hard to read, as in like it was quite gruesome. These are definitely adult books. There are sexual references, there are sex scenes in here. It's quite brutal, but some parts are actually quite hilarious, and I really love Harry Keogh as a character, and I think these books are brilliantly written. Brian Lumley is an incredible author, and I can't wait to get into the next one, so we will see where it goes from there. Okay, the next book, again, this is just on my bookshelf. I live with my boyfriend and his mum left a lot of her books here, so I've kind of been going through what she left on the bookshelves, because again we have very similar reading tastes, and I found this one, and it's The Burning Girl by Mark Billingham, and it says, if you haven't yet come across D.I. Thorne, treat yourself, you won't be disappointed. And this is about a detective who goes on to look at, I'll just read you the back. It's really hard to explain, but it says, a man who kills for money, X marks the spot, and when that spot is a corpse's naked back and the X is carved in blood, D.I. Tom Thorne is in no doubt that the dead man is the latest victim of a particularly vicious contract killer. Again, this is one of those like cop mystery detective novels that I just really like, and I read them really, really quickly. So I'm hoping I'll enjoy this. I'm kind of hoping it's going to be a little bit gory. I do enjoy a gory mystery, especially after reading the Rosalian Isles books by Tess Gerritsen. I'm kind of hoping this will live up to my expectations. The next one is actually recommended by Anthony, who is my wonderful better half. This is one of his favourite books and he's been nagging me to read it forever and ever, and this is Frank Herbert's Dune. Now, he won't tell me much about it because he wants me to read it, but he's a huge sci-fi buff, and sci-fi is not usually my genre at all. I tend to go fantasy rather than sci-fi, but I'm going to give this a go and see how I get on with it, because I know it is a huge classic. I know a lot of people love it, and it's one of those sci-fi books that is one of the big ones, so I feel like I need to read it. And if you don't know what Dune is about, it says on the back, the epic story of the planet Arrakis, its Atreides rulers and their mortal enemies, the Harkonnens, is the finest, most widely acclaimed and enduring science fiction novel of this century. Can you tell I'm not a sci-fi reader? My pronunciation is terrible, so I'm sorry if any massive Dune fans out there, if I've just butchered that, I'm really sorry. Yeah, I'm hoping to get more into sci-fi reading, because I would love to be able to read more sci-fi books. I like space, but I find it really difficult to visualise plot lines in space, because my brain normally goes to like a fantasy kind of backdrop, a fantasy world. That's where I'm more comfortable. So yeah, I'm gonna challenge myself and try and read this one, and I think if I'm gonna start sci-fi anywhere, then I need to start with Dune. Next we have a classic. I love classic books and I need to read more classics, and this is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, and this is a Penguin classic, and I love this edition, and I've had this in my collection since I did A-level English, so that would have been 2012. So yeah, I bought this in 2012 and I haven't read it yet, so I really need to. But it says on the back, in one moment every drop of blood in my body was brought to a stop. There, as if it had that moment sprung out of the earth, stood the figure of a solitary woman dressed from head to foot in white. I love a gothic thriller, and I love a gothic horror, and I love psychological books, and this is supposed to be one of the first ones and one of the best ones. So I'm gonna give it a go and see what happens. I haven't read a classic in a while. I'm really sorry, I just realised I've been waving these books in front of my face, so when I watch this back, hopefully you can see me as I'm talking to you. Anyway, I haven't read a classic in a while, so I'm hoping that I can get my brain around kind of the language and the sentence structure again. But I think it will be a nice challenge, and it will make me feel quite accomplished to finally finish this, because I've had it on my bookshelf for so long. Actually, several bookshelves, because I've moved multiple times since 2012. So this has been around a while and it needs to get read. Okay, next is one that is massive on BookTube, and I'm a huge fan of this author's work. I love Sarah J Maas's writing, and this is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I have also had this on my bookshelf for about a million years, because I love the Throne of Glass series. That is one of my favourite series ever. I love it. I love the characters, I love the plot development, I love the world building, I love everything. So I've been a little bit apprehensive about reading this series, because I'm scared it's not going to live up to Throne of Glass. But I've had lots of conversations with lots of people who have read it, and they said it is wonderful. And also, it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and Beauty and the Beast is one of my favourite fairy tales and my favourite Disney film ever. So I think I will like it, and I'm finally going to get around to this one. I have the whole series so far. I know there's a new one coming out soon. But I have the whole series so far, and I also recently bought Crescent City at the beginning of lockdown, which is again another series by Sarah J Maas. So I feel like I need to read this one. Also, so I can figure out who on earth Rysand is. I'm very excited to find out what the hype is about him, and whether he's going to live up to my love for Rowan Whitethorn. I don't think anyone can ever live up to that amount of love. Rowan is my fictional bae, but yeah, excited for this one. Okay, now I'm on to the last 3 books in my to be read list, and they are chunky. So this, I was supposed to read Mantell in March. Simon over at Simon of Savage Reads was doing a reading challenge, and it was Mantell in March to read the Wolf Hall trilogy by Hilary Mantel, and it's Wolf Hall, Bring Up the Bodies, and The Mirror and the Light, I think is the third one. So I bought all 3 of them at the time, about a week before lockdown started, and I just never ever got round to reading them. This is historical fiction, and obviously on the front it's got the Tudor rose. I don't really know what it's about, other than I kind of know that it's about Thomas Cromwell. But I love Tudor history, I love English history, I love history in general. I'm a huge history buff, so I am excited to get into this. And also Simon said that it's quite emotional as well and quite relatable, so I'm excited to find some historical portrayals of characters that perhaps I can relate to. That would be quite nice. The blurb says, in Wolf Hall, one of our very best writers brings the opulent, brutal world of the Tudors to bloody, glittering life. It is the backdrop to the rise of Thomas Cromwell, low-born boy, charmer, bully, master of deadly intrigue, and finally the most powerful of Henry VIII's courtiers. Terrifying, it is a world of marvels, but it is also a world of horrors where screams are commonplace, a feast. I can't wait for this one. It's a chunk, so I don't know if I'm going to get all the way through it in August. Again, this is a ridiculously ambitious TBR, but I didn't get a lot of reading done in July because we adopted a beautiful cat whose name is Amos, and I love him dearly, but that has kind of taken up all my time, so I haven't really been reading very much, so I'm hoping to make up for it in August. Okay, the next book is a book that is humongous. This is probably one of the biggest books I own, and this is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I've had this on my bookshelf again for probably about 7 years at this point. like it's been a long time. This book, I'm a prolific reader, but this book is intimidating to say the least. It is, hold on, let me check, 1,124 pages long. I think apart from It by Stephen King, this is probably the biggest book that I own. I've actually tried to read this multiple times. I've tried to listen to this multiple times. The world building is phenomenal. The magic systems are incredible. Just the way that Brandon Sanderson writes is like nothing I have ever experienced before. This is, I would say, adult high fantasy. I wouldn't say this is YA. I don't know if that's right, but I would say this is adult fantasy rather than YA. But it's just, I can't describe it because it's so beautiful. The characters are wonderful. They're all very, very individual. But life has just got in the way so many times. Like, I'll get loads and loads of chapters into this and then I'll put it down and then I will stop reading it for a few weeks or something, or I'll go on to something that's a little bit shorter because I'm so intimidated by the size of it that I just never ever get the full kind of impact of it. And I think this is one that you can't really dip in and out of. I'm one of those readers that likes to have several books on the go at one time, and I think this one needs to just have my full attention for a while until I get it read, because I think that's the only way that you can fully take in all of the little details and all of the kind of majesty of the world that Brandon Sanderson puts you in. And I know this is part of the Stormlight Archive. This is volume 1 of the Stormlight Archive, and Anthony, my boyfriend, is on, he's currently listening to the second one. And he said it's incredible, and he said that he really loved this and this was phenomenal. So I'm trying to read it, and I will read you the blurb. And it says, "Speak again the ancient oaths, life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination, and return to men the shards they once bore. The knights radiant must stand again." I wish I could do this more justice and kind of explain what it is, but I would just do yourself a favour, go and get this book and read it. It is so worth it. Like, where I've got to, I absolutely loved it, but I want to start from the beginning and just read it cover to cover and just not be distracted by anything, so that I can fully enjoy the impact. Like I've already said, I can fully take it on in one, let it sink in and feel it, because I feel like it's going to be one of those books that stays with me for a while. Okay, so last but not least is a stunning book, and this is The Priory of the Orange Tree. This has been everywhere on BookTube, and I remember when we were allowed to go out to bookshops, so again before lockdown, I was sat in Waterstones, and I think I'd seen Reagan of Peruse Project reviewing this or talking about this book, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll pick that up. And then I walked into Waterstones and it was on one of the tables, and I was in my wheelchair and it was literally right up my eye line. That's great. If you're a wheelchair user and also a book fiend like I am, Waterstones is a dangerous place to be. But yeah, this was right at my eye line, and I was just like, oh, I need to pick that up. So I picked it up and I read the first 2 pages, actually, like sitting in the bookshop, as you do. And I was like, I need to buy this. And I, again, don't know anything about this. Don't really want to know anything about this. I know that it's high fantasy. And I've heard that Samantha Shannon's writing is incredible. So I'm very excited. There are dragons. Also very excited for dragons. And I think there's a female-female romance in here too, which is also very exciting. I haven't read much queer lit. I really need to read some more queer literature. I need to get some more representation into my life. Love a good romance. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. Okay, so that is all the books that I have to show you today, and hopefully I will be able to read them all. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books on my August TBR. I don't know if I will get anywhere near that, but I would absolutely love to. I will keep you updated. If you have read or are planning to read any of these books, please let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And other than that, I will hopefully see you soon. In the meantime, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Bye.